Hi YouTubers, PhoenixTalon back for another tutorial video about logic and machines in Creativerse. So, we're going to go into the room of logics, yes. This is fantastic. I love logic. I always do that, and all I really wanted to do is bring back my HUD. Alright, let's go on in. Woo! Boy, this room looks really confusing. Whee! No, it's not really that hard. It's not. Trust me, it's not. Yes, if that joke made you giggle a little bit, great! You're in the right mood to be here. If it didn't make you giggle, you might as well turn the video off. But leave me a thumbs up on your way out the door, because I would appreciate it. Anyway, so, not. You're looking at this and saying, wait, this is not a logic gate. That is a logic gate. This is not. This is an inverter gate. You are correct. But an inverter gate is actually the very simplest form of a logic gate. It is the very first one we must discuss, because if you don't understand not, then you won't not understand. Wait, not understand not. Whatever. Anyway, you won't get it. It just won't happen. What a NOT gate does is it takes that same true false we were talking about before, and it flips it. It turns it around. It makes it the other one. It makes it not whatever it was. So, if we start with a false input, remember, there's that word again, input. False input. If it's not false, it must be true. Imagine that. So your output, there's that other word, is true. If we put in a true input, we invert it, we make it not what it was, and it is now false. It's that easy, folks. It does not get any easier than, actually it does get easier than that, but it doesn't get any easier than that for logic. Okay, so again, false going in, true coming out. But if true comes in, false comes out. That's a NOT gate. And we talked about and in the last video, so this should be old school for you. You should be an expert. You should be able to teach me about it. I'll go ahead and wait. No, I'm kidding. I'm not going to. I'm going to go ahead and tell everybody else. And if you missed the last video, I don't know what to tell you. You probably should go watch it, because it had a lot of important stuff in it. So, AND gate. AND, once again, takes two inputs. It compares them. It checks to see if it likes them, and then it gives us an output. In this case, an AND gate is looking for exactly two true statements. Let me start that again. It's looking for exactly two true inputs or statements or anything. AND is AND. So in this case, all the way at the bottom, see, there's only 4 different ways you can do two inputs. Imagine that. At the bottom, we have our 1 true, 2 true, output true. Everything else is false. That is the way that AND works. 1 false is false. 1 true, 1 false is false. 1 false, 1 true is false. 1 true, 1 true is true. No, 1 true, 2 true is true. True, true. Easy one to understand, right? Now, let's talk about the little brother called NAND. NAND means not and. NAND. Creative, isn't it? I didn't come up with that. Somebody else a lot smarter than me did. Imagine that. So, with NAND, it's very, very simple. It's looking for not and. So, whatever was and, if you think of putting this through a NOT gate, you will have the result. So before, we had false, false was false. Throw it through a NOT gate. False goes through a NOT gate, comes out as true. Hey, look at that. It's true. It's magic. No, it's logic. But it might as well be magic to some people. But not to you. You're an expert now. Now you can go teach other people what NAND means, and what AND means, and what NOT means. You're 3 times smarter than you were when you walked in the door. That door. Not your door. Because that would have been weird. In any case, we have true, false. In an AND situation, that would be an output of false. Put it through a NOT, it becomes a true. Yes. Same thing here. We start with false, go to true. In an AND situation, it would be false, go through NOT, ends up being true. True, and then true. It would equal true if it were and, but it's not and, is it? Goes through not as true, comes out false. So you would expect that to be false, and it is. You were right. You should trust your instincts. Amazing, isn't it? This is so simple. A caveman could do it. Not saying anything bad about cavemen, though. I'm sure they were very nice people. Next, we have one that is even easier to understand. Or. We always think in ors, don't we? We think, well, I could have this or this, right? And then that would make you happy. But if you had both, you would still be happy, right? Well, I could have chocolate, or I could have, I don't know, something that's not chocolate but equally good. Like, I don't know, butterscotch. I like butterscotch. Do you like butterscotch? It's good, isn't it? So, you could have chocolate or butterscotch. Well, the chocolate would make you happy, so true. The butterscotch would equally make you as happy, so true. But if you mix them together, delight. True. Well, that's or. If you have neither one, you're not happy, so you're false. So there you go. Input 1, false. Input 2, false. Output, false. But with an OR gate, now for true, and then a false, doesn't matter. It was OR. So I'm true. Here we go with the next one. False, then true, so I got my butterscotch. I'm still happy. Now I have both. I have this or this. It doesn't matter. I'm true. So that's OR. Next one, I bet you can see the pattern, is NOR. And if you have been following along at home, you know that NOR means not or. Yes. This is too easy, isn't it? You're already going, okay, come on, let's get to the magical stuff. No, this is actually as hard as it gets. I'm not kidding. So, NOR is looking for exactly the opposite thing here, right? So, everywhere we had a false, we're now going to have a true. Everywhere we had a true, we're now going to have a false. NOR is pretty simple, right? This is the way that I've learned this. This is the way I understand it. This is the way that you will understand it, I hope. So, think about it like that. So, same principle. You take the false, put it through a not, you get a true. Take the true, put it through a false. Take the true, put it through the not, you get a false, and so on and so on. Too easy, right? These are all the possible states of NOR. Now, we go on to XOR, which actually, and some of you probably read that as ZOR, because that would be really cool, but that's not what it is. It's actually XOR, which stands for exclusive OR. Exclusively OR. So think of it like that. Think of it like the bouncer at the club. You can get in, or you could get in, but not both of you. No. That is what exclusive OR is. It takes the OR, and it says, I'm only looking for just OR, exclusively OR, only OR. If it's a both or an and situation, we're going to be false, right there. See how that works? So we come in here, we've got a false and a false. Well, that's nothing, so that's a false. We've got a true and a false. Well, that's okay. The bouncer says you can come in, but your friend can't come. Well, there you go. Now you've got your true. Now you've got a false and a true. You were at home sick. Your friend went. The bouncer says, okay, you can come in. So that's a true. Now, it happens that you and your friend got to go to the club together. True and true. The bouncer says, I'm sorry. One of you is going to have to stay outside. That is a false. I don't care how many hundreds you slip him. There you go. Exclusively OR. Only looking for the OR part. This or this. That's it. Not this and this. Just this or this. Next. If you read that as Zor, you would read this as Xenor. Sounds like a really cool alien, doesn't it? Anyway, it's not Xenor. It's XNOR, which sounds equally as cool, which is exclusively not OR. So if you think of it like this was exclusively OR, this is exclusively not OR. This is not OR. So it's looking for exclusively not OR, which means This is OR. This is OR. This is not OR. This is not OR. That is what it is looking for. That is how you understand exclusively not OR. It says here you had OR, and you had your true right here, here and here. When those same conditions are met, OR, it's false. So the bouncer says, look, you can either both come or none of you. Not this one at a time type of business here. Okay? And I think he's really talking about the hundreds. He can say, look, you can give me this 100 and this 100, but if you only give me this 100, nope, it's not working for me. And if you don't give me anything, well, hell, it doesn't matter. Okay, so that's what we're looking at. We're looking at if you got two falses, that's not an OR, is it? Well, exclusively not OR. Well, then that is going to mean that's a true. If you've got the second condition, which is one true and one false, well, that's an OR. So that's a false. If you've got a false and a true, another OR, so another false. Then here you've got a true and then another input that's true. That's going to be a true because that's not an OR, right? That's an AND. We've already discussed this. You should got that. But here, it makes sense, doesn't it? Because that's an OR and an OR, because it's still either or both in this case. So you can think of OR in that way. So that's why exclusively not OR works in that way. So now, to recap, not comes in false, goes out true, comes in true, goes out false. And if this and this, NAND, opposite of AND. Or this, or both, don't care. NOR, opposite of OR. Exclusively OR. Just the ORs, just one at a time, please. Exclusively not OR. Whatever exclusively OR isn't. Now, if you're still with me, even for that, I recommend everyone build one of these. You're like, what is one of these? This looks confusing. No, it's not actually. It's probably one of the best tools you can have in your toolbox of logic. What we have here is an AND gate, a NAND gate, an OR gate, a NOR gate, an XOR, and an XNOR gate. So we've got all 6 of the gates right here. Don't worry, I'm not worried about the NOT gates. If you really want to, you could add an extra dimension to it and throw some NOT gates up there. That's up to you. But I'm not really going to say anything. So, what we have here is a switch that provides us with one input, and this switch is connected to one input of each of these gates. The other switch, input B, is connected to the other input of each of these. If you don't believe me, you can look at it. It's really connected. There. I just didn't want to complicate matters with the wiring. We haven't really gotten that far yet. Well, we kind of did, but yeah, you got it. Here is what we have for an AND if both inputs are on or true. Is that right? Tick tock, tick tock. Yes, it is. Ding. And an AND. There it is. And true. NAND, the opposite of AND. So that would mean that if AND was true in this case, because it only has the one true, NAND would be false. So there it is. OR, NOR, XOR, and XNOR. All of these are all the outputs it would be if it was two true inputs. Let's go ahead and flip one. Oh, look at that. Isn't that amazing? I went ahead and gave it a false, and it went ahead and flipped. I'll give it 2 falses, and it changes again. And then if we give it that false back, or the true back, and 1 false, it goes back to the way it was. See, it's the same. You can come into my world. Take a look at this room. Play around with the logics. You'll be able to, I don't know, get some ideas of your own. I'm sure you would enjoy it. But I do insist that if you don't memorize these, which I don't suggest you memorize them at all, I suggest that you at least build one of these if you're planning on doing anything with any kind of logic at all. It will help. Trust me. You will have at least one reference sheet in the game. That way, you're not constantly like alt-tabbing or shift-tabbing or something to get back out to whatever you're looking at on, I don't know, This video, maybe? I don't know. I don't know what you would be looking at. But the point is, this is a great thing to have. So I recommend it. Anyway, that's all for logic. If you were able to understand that and follow along, fantastic. I have done my job. If you weren't, I'm sorry. I failed miserably, and I'm a complete failure in your eyes. That's okay, though. Leave a question in the comments. I'll get back to you. May not be that minute or that day, even. I have a life, you know. But I will get back to you eventually, I promise. All right, and if I don't, I'm sure somebody else will. Hopefully I don't have any trolls that are horribly wrong, though. But logic is easy. Logic is very much yes, no, on, off. It's very simple. But the gates go in there and complicate everything. So just remember, keep it very simple. Build one of these tools, and you'll be fine. All right, that's all for now. Thank you for watching. Peace.